Have you ever wondered what sparked the American Revolution? The seed of this monumental shift in the course of history was planted in the hearts and minds of the American colonists, and it grew from a smoldering ember into a roaring flame. The tale begins in the mid-18th century when the British Empire, in an attempt to recoup the financial losses from the 7 Years' War, began imposing a series of taxes on its American colonies. This was done without any representation of the colonies in the British Parliament, a situation that led to widespread discontent and the rallying cry of "no taxation without representation." Imagine the frustration of the colonists living thousands of miles away from the decision-makers, yet being expected to bear the financial burden of an empire. This resentment simmered and brewed much like a pot of tea left on the fire for too long. Then came the Boston Massacre in 1770. A tragic incident that resulted in the death of 5 colonists at the hands of British soldiers. This event, heavily propagandized, served to fan the flames of revolution, stirring up a sense of injustice and anger among the colonists. A few years later in 1773 came the infamous Boston Tea Party, where colonists dressed as Mohawk Indians dumped 342 chests of British tea into the Boston harbor. This act of defiance was a direct response to the Tea Act, a law that gave the British East India Company a monopoly on tea sales in the colonies. These events, among many others, ignited a spark of revolution. The colonists, tired of being treated as second-class citizens by their mother country, began to dream of a world where they could govern themselves. They yearned for a land where the principles of liberty, equality, and democracy were more than just words, but a way of life. These events set the stage for a revolution that would change the course of history, and thus, the spark was lit, setting in motion a series of events that would eventually lead to the birth of a new nation, the United States of America. The spark ignited, and the American Revolution was underway. But what were the pivotal battles that shaped its course? Enter the opening act of the revolution, the battles of Lexington and Concord. They were the first military engagements of the conflict, and while they were relatively minor in scale, they had major implications. These battles marked the point of no return, the moment when the American colonists transitioned from protest to armed resistance. Then came the Battle of Bunker Hill, a brutal conflict that proved to the British that the American forces were not to be underestimated. Despite the British claiming victory, they suffered heavy losses, and the American morale was bolstered. The American soldiers' ability to stand their ground against a superior force was a clear sign. They were in this fight to the end. Fast forward to the Battle of Saratoga, a turning point in the war. The American victory here was decisive, demonstrating to the world that they were capable of defeating the British in a large-scale battle. This victory was instrumental in gaining French support for the American cause, which was a game-changer in the war's dynamics. Finally, the Siege of Yorktown. This was a decisive American and French victory over the British forces. The British surrender at Yorktown effectively ended the fighting portion of the American Revolution. The battle demonstrated the effectiveness of the Franco-American alliance and highlighted the importance of foreign support in achieving American independence. Each of these battles played a crucial role in shaping the outcome of the war. Lexington and Concord sparked the conflict, Bunker Hill boosted the American morale, Saratoga attracted international support, and Yorktown sealed the fate of the British rule in America. But the revolution was more than just military conflict. It was a struggle for ideas, for freedoms, and for a new way of life. It was a revolution that would change the course of history, not just for America, but for the entire world. These battles marked turning points in the struggle for independence, but the revolution was more than just military conflict. Behind every revolution, there are individuals who lead the charge. Who were these figures in the American Revolution? The American Revolution was not just a clash of armies, but a clash of ideas, led by some of the most brilliant minds of the era. Among these thinkers were individuals like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Benjamin Franklin. Let's start with George Washington, a man of immense stature in every sense of the word. He was a military man, a leader, and a strategist. His leadership during the Revolution was instrumental in the formation of the Continental Army, and his strategies played a pivotal role in the success of the revolution. But Washington's contribution did not stop at the battlefield. He became the first president of the United States, setting the standard for the role and its responsibilities. Then we have Thomas Jefferson, a man of letters, a philosopher, and a statesman. His eloquence and vision were captured in the Declaration of Independence, a document that not only laid out the reasons for the revolution, but also set forth the principles that would guide the new nation. Jefferson's brilliance extended beyond his writing. As the third president of the United States, he oversaw the Louisiana Purchase, which expanded the nation's territory considerably. And who could forget Benjamin Franklin? A polymath in the truest sense, Franklin was an inventor, a scientist, a writer, and a diplomat. His diplomatic skills were critical in securing French support for the American cause, tipping the balance in favor of the revolutionaries. Franklin's inventions and scientific discoveries like the lightning rod and his studies on electricity continue to impact our lives today. These individuals played a crucial role in the revolution, but they were not alone. There were countless others whose stories remain largely untold. These are just a few faces of the revolution, but it's important to remember that the American Revolution was a collective effort, fueled by the courage and resilience of thousands who believed in the cause of freedom and self-determination. The American Revolution was fought by ordinary people. What were their experiences? Imagine the farmer leaving his plow in the field to pick up a musket. Picture the blacksmith trading his hammer for a bayonet. Consider the seamstress, setting aside her needle to tend to the wounded. These were the ordinary people who became the extraordinary soldiers of the American Revolution. Their stories are as diverse as the 13 colonies themselves, yet they share common threads of courage, sacrifice, and resilience. Take Private Joseph Plum Martin, a Connecticut teenager who served 7 long years in the Continental Army. He endured harsh winters, scarce rations, and the constant threat of British gunfire. Yet despite these challenges, he remained steadfast in his commitment to the cause of independence. Or consider Deborah Sampson, a young woman who disguised herself as a man to fight for her country. Despite being wounded multiple times, she refused to abandon her comrades or the cause they were fighting for. Her bravery and determination exemplify the spirit of the American Revolution. And let's not forget the countless African Americans, both free and enslaved, who fought on both sides of the conflict. Their service was often overlooked or forgotten, but their contributions were crucial to the war effort. One such individual was James Armistead, a Virginia slave who served as a spy for the Continental Army. His intelligence reports played a key role in the decisive American victory at Yorktown. These individuals faced immense challenges, from the terrors of battle to the hardships of life in the military. Yet, they persevered, driven by a belief in the ideals of liberty and self-governance. Their sacrifices laid the foundation for the nation we know today. These stories remind us that the American Revolution was a collective effort, a struggle for freedom that involved people from all walks of life. The American Revolution changed the world, but what is its legacy today? It's a question that invites us to look back and appreciate the profound impact of the revolution on the formation of the United States. The revolution was a catalyst for change, sparking a wave of transformation that redefined the nation. It laid the groundwork for the democratic principles and values we hold dear today. It fostered a culture of liberty, equality, and independence, principles that have continued to guide the nation's political and social landscape. The revolution also brought forth the United States Constitution, an enduring symbol of democracy. This document, drafted by the nation's founding fathers, is a testament to their vision of a free and just society. It enshrines the rights of the people, the principles of federalism, and the separation of powers, ensuring that no single entity wields unchecked authority. Yet the legacy of the revolution extends far beyond the United States. It sparked a global shift, inspiring other nations to challenge oppressive regimes and fight for their right to self-governance. The American Revolution became a beacon of hope, a symbol of what ordinary people can accomplish when they stand up against tyranny and fight for their rights. Today, the ideals of the revolution continue to shape the nation. Every time we vote, every time we exercise our right to free speech, every time we challenge injustice, we are living the legacy of the revolution. We are embodying the spirit of those brave men and women who dared to dream of a better, freer world. But the legacy of the revolution is not just about grand ideals and political transformations. It's also about the ordinary people who fought for these ideals, the soldiers who sacrificed their lives, the families who endured hardships, and the leaders who guided the nation through its darkest hours. Their courage, resilience, and unwavering faith in the cause of freedom are the true legacy of the American Revolution. As we celebrate Independence Day, let us remember the sacrifices made and the ideals fought for during the American Revolution. These are the foundations upon which our nation was built.